Welcome back, everybody, to the ADD Show, where we're not always right, but we're never wrong. I'm Hans, and, well, it's just me today. And Marc couldn't be here. He is at work, unfortunately, this whole week. So we decided to bring in Nate back, to fill in for Marc's spot. So how you doing today, Nate?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I cannot complain today. Today is a good day for me. Just got off work, ready to do the podcast. Other than that, I think you have some. I think you can fill in Marc's shoes. Marc's great, but it's good to have your insight. And I've also been told that you have a topic you want to talk about. We'll get to a little bit later. But I guess first we'll get into our picks. I also have Marc's picks. I know you do too. So for everybody listening, I'll say Marc's picks, and then I'll say mine, and then just like Nate, just like we always do, he'll do his. So is there any specific game you're excited about most, or do you just want to get right into Thursday Night Football?
I'm excited about a couple of these games, like the Chargers, Ravens, Cardinals, Browns. The Bills, Titans could be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We get to watch the Dolphins and Jaguars, two bottom feeders, go at it. But now let's just jump right in.
Okay, I will let you start with Thursday Night Football.
So, Bucks, Eagles. For me, this one was kind of easy. It was funny earlier this week. I saw I follow a beat reporter from practically every team, and probably two or three from every NFC East team, just because I'm insane like that. And I saw Eagles beat reporter make a post with an interview from Tom Brady where he was praising the Eagles defense, especially the defensive line, and he was like, "Wow, this is big praise from the GOAT." And then a Bucks fan retweeted that tweet and said, "Didn't Tom Brady say in an interview that he talks up people he knows he can smash?" I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. I'm picking the Bucks by a lot, man.
Yeah, me and Marc both, for a lot of our picks, are pretty similar. So anybody listening, I'll just say me and Marc both. We both picked the Bucks. I picked the Bucks because they're the better team. They have the better quarterback. They have the better line. Their defense is giving up a lot of points, but their front seven seems to be doing better than their back few. So I have a feeling they're going to be able to stop the run. And I don't trust Hurts as a dangerous passer against this secondary, but I do see the Eagles scoring more points than they should. So next we have the Bengals and the Lions. I'll let you go first again.
This one, I'm going to pick the Bengals. I just think that on paper they're a better team. I think on the field they're a better team. The Lions are one of those teams that they're they just seem to they're kind of, it's hard to say that they're like the best 0-5 team I've seen, but they've been almost in every single game. I mean, they almost beat the Vikings last week. They almost beat the Ravens. But I just think that this is a get-right game for the Bengals.
Yep, I agree. Me and Marc both have the Bengals here. Everything you said, I think the Bengals are the better team. I think they've shown flashes of really good. They've had a couple bad moments. I think they got a lot to clean up still, but I think they're in that upper 20s of good teams. They're not where they were last year. I think they're strides ahead. And this is also Marc's lock of the week with the Bengals over the Lions. And the Lions they're good, but they just keep doing Lions things. They just have to get over that hump. And I like their coach. I like the direction they're going, but they just keep losing in the worst ways possible. Like heartbreak after heartbreak. And this could be the week they do it, but the Bengals right now are a better team. So I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Yeah.
So the next week, this next one, we have the Dolphins and the Jags. So go ahead.
Oh, man. They're saying that Tua could be back this week. I don't think it matters. The Dolphins are playing horrible football. And it's not like the Jaguars are playing much better, but I'm starting to see more and more from Trevor Lawrence. I'm seeing James Robinson really start to get fed, even though Urban Meyer has no idea that he had 100 yards at halftime. It's just the Jaguars are bound to win one, and this just to me seems like that game. The Dolphins are favored in this game, but I'm picking the Jaguars. This is my upset of the week.
Ooh. So me and Marc are different here. Marc chose the Dolphins versus the Jaguars. I can't attest to why, but he chose the Dolphins. He probably has his reasoning. I picked the Jaguars as well. The Jaguars aren't good, like the Lions aren't good, but I keep seeing flashes where they're not the same Jaguars as last year. People are like, well, they've lost 17 straight games since that 1-0 tweet. They are playing well, but at the same time, they're not playing well. But the Dolphins aren't either. To me, the Dolphins look completely lost on the field. And I'm not sure having Tua back makes it any better. I don't know what they're doing, but I feel like this is a game, the Jags at home. I think the Jags sneak out a win. There is a lot of teams on the road that are better than the home teams this week. This is one of the home teams I have winning. I got the Jags over the Dolphins. The next game is the Packers and the Bears. So we got a little NFC North matchup. So go ahead.
Before I made my pick, did you see what Devontae Adams said in that presser?
No, I didn't.
So he was asked, how do you feel about playing the Bears? Like, what's your hatred level for your rival? And he says, I hate everybody I play.
Love it.
And I loved that answer from
Yeah.
the number one wide receiver in the league.
Yeah.
This is a no-brainer. You got to go Packers here. You just got to trust Aaron Rodgers over Justin Fields. I think the Bears' defense is nasty, and this is one of those rivalry games that's always a little bit closer than it should be. But I think this is a game where you could see Aaron Jones start to get a little bit more involved in the passing game.
Yep.
And I see a big game from Randall Cobb.
Oh, yeah.
With one. I got the Packers winning this one by 2 scores.
So me and Marc both have the Packers as well. The Packers are the better team. They're moving a lot better. This is week 2 now of getting. I know it's just Jalen Smith, but getting Jalen Smith kind of more into the role. I think he might be starting this week. Aaron Rodgers is better than Fields. Fields is dynamic with everything he does, but I still feel like this team is a few steps behind the Packers. The Packers should win this game, and it should be by multiple scores. So I agree with you.
I think they're just wildly misusing Justin Fields.
I 100% agree.
They're
100%.
trying to make him something that he's not.
Yeah.
He's not a run-first quarterback, and he's not a dink and dunker. He's a let me read the field and find the guy.
Yeah, this is something I talked about years ago, and I mentioned it many times, and it's a favoritism thing for me, but it's the same thing that happened out of West Virginia when Geno Smith went to the Jets, and it's something I've said forever. The Jets were running him like every other quarterback that looks like Geno Smith, if you know what I'm trying to say there. And the problem was in college, he didn't do that. He had 95 touchdowns in the air and only had like 5 on the ground. So then when he goes to Seattle now, people are like, wow, he played really well. I'm like, that's always been him, but they want him to run, and he's not that good at it. I think Justin Fields has a hell of an arm. He can be a good pocket passer, but for some weird reason, they look at him and go, scrambling quarterback. But he's got to...
I mean, don't get me wrong. Justin Fields can run the ball well.
Yes.
And he's fast.
But that shouldn't be his primary option.
Yeah.
So next we have Texans and the Colts. This is probably a hard one for you. What you got?
The Colts, man, I don't know what it is about that team, but they're going to get it right at some point. There's too much talent on that team defensively, too much talent on that team offensively. Carson Wentz he's playing well. He's not making bad decisions. Their defense is still a little bit banged up, but I don't trust Davis Mills. I know he showed out last week against the Patriots, but they ran a lot of trick plays. They ran a lot of gimmicky stuff, and I don't know. I'm picking the Colts.
Yeah, so me and Marc both have the Colts, and I think it's because we think the Colts are a better team. For me, I picked it, and you actually said it best, is I think the Colts are one of the best, worst teams at the moment. They have the talent. They have the players. I know Carson Wentz is only third game really back in the lineup, really getting the swing of things. Players are playing better. Michael Pittman's playing better. I just think they have to start moving the correct direction because this division in a way is still wide open. So somebody's going to have to take this next drive, and this is a game to do it against. So me and him both picked the Colts as well.
Did you know that Michael Pittman is second in the league right now? Terry McLaurin's number 1, but most targets and catches without a drop.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Michael Pittman's always been extremely talented. I'm just finally glad they're using him properly.
Yeah.
So the next game we got the Rams versus the Giants. What you got?
This is actually my lock of the week.
Ooh, there you go.
I'm going to pick the Rams by a landslide. I just think on every facet of the game, they are the better team.
Yeah.
Especially with Saquon not playing. They're just, I don't know, man. The Giants, I just cannot figure out. It's like, I feel bad. I almost feel bad for their fans, but I don't because I hate their fans. So, yeah, I mean, Rams by a landslide here.
So me and Marc both have the Rams. I picked the Rams because, well, the Giants aren't good. They say Daniel Jones will play. I don't know. I saw the way he wobbled. I wouldn't play him.
He got knocked out.
Yeah, he was completely gone. He was on another planet. I don't know where he was. He usually plays on the field in another planet, too. Saquon Barkley, not going to be there. Like I told Marc last week on the show, it's like this team for the Giants on paper reminds me, and I try not to use Madden references because old man over there who's not here doesn't understand it in a way, but like they have so much talent. Every player would have such a high overall in real life. Like they're good. Their wide receivers I get aren't healthy, but even when they were healthy, they still weren't winning games. I don't understand what is with New York. I have the Rams winning. I have the Rams winning by a lot. This was my borderline lock of the week. You what?
Kadarius Toney's a star.
Yeah, he is. But this week he's going to go up against Jalen Ramsey, so I don't know if that's a good option.
Is he or is Galladay going to go against him?
That's a good point. I don't know the way Tony played. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. The Rams do have a good defense. I have the Rams winning. This was a close pick for my lock of the week, but I didn't pick this one. I really should have. But so next, what you got for the next game? You don't have to go into this one too much because we save time for you later. But what you got?
Chiefs next.
Me and Marc both picked the Chiefs. This is my lock of the week. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope Washington finds a way to pull this one out. And I know I'm saying that as a Dallas fan. This could be a huge game, but I don't see the Chiefs going down another loss without any problems. I'll say it quick before we move on, is that with the DC having the worst ranked secondary right now, I see the Chiefs lighting them up. Mahomes isn't gonna be denied again, knowing the Chargers are 4-1. You know what I mean?
I just tell Tyreek to run straight and throw it to a spot, and they're going to score 50 points. So.
Exactly. So we'll move on from that because I wanted you to talk about it later. So next we got the Vikings and the Panthers.
This was one that was kind of tough because the Panthers, the first 3 games, looked like a team, even in the Dallas game. In the fourth, if you take the fourth quarter of the Dallas game and remove the other 3 quarters, the Panthers looked like they got punched in the mouth, and then they woke up.
Yep.
And I know Dallas was playing like prevent and stuff like that, but it looked like they woke up. It looked like Sam Darnold was like, okay, I got this again. Let's go.
Yep. I would agree.
But the last 2 weeks, I mean, you can't lose to Philly like that the way they did. I know that they were playing in Philly, but like, I don't know, man. The Panthers are a tough team for me to kind of judge right now. It's like, what side of the coin are we going to get? And same with the Vikings. The Vikings are probably one of the worst 2 and 3 teams I've seen, but they've also gone toe-to-toe with the Browns. They've blown out the Seahawks. Like, I don't know what to make of them. They went toe-to-toe with the Cardinals, but then they almost lose to the Lions.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Panthers on this one, and I didn't have that written down until now. This is one of the toughest ones to pick for me. I'm gonna take the Panthers.
So me and Marc are different here. Marc has the Vikings, and I'll say this while he's not here. I'd tell him while he was. Marc is really big on the Vikings the last 2 years, like I was on the Chargers last year. I haven't seen what
closet fan.
I think he's a closet fan of the Vikings. And
he loves Dalvin Cook so much.
Yeah, and I think Dalvin Cook's absolutely spectacular. But the problem is, it's like he says it every week, and he did it last year. I'm like, well, at what point are the Vikings you're thinking are actually going to show up? Because I made the joke about the Chargers, and here they are. But at what point do the Vikings become what we thought they would 2-3 years ago when Zimmer took over, when Kirk Cousins signed that deal? Dalvin Cook is there. Now they have I just forgot the wide receiver's name they drafted last year. Yeah, Justin Jefferson. You have 3 great wide receivers. Your defense is starting to figure it out, but you're still 2-3. So, but again, the Panthers aren't looking too good either. But I do believe, I don't know if Gilmore is going to be playing this week.
He's not back till week 6.
Week 6. Okay, so he's got a while. Sorry, there's some cops outside here. We'll let this go by. It's so loud.
That's what you get for living on the Eastern Shore.
I know, right? Someone's probably dying right now. There it goes. So, the Panthers are a really good team too. I don't think they're terrible. I don't think they're great, but the defense is good. And for some reason, I just trust the Panthers more because every time I pick the Vikings, they don't win. I don't know what it is about the Vikings, but I'm not giving into them. I'm not going to pick them this week either. So we'll move on to the next game. This is most people's game of the week, and I want you to go first. We have the Chargers and the Ravens.
Yeah, this is definitely my game of the week. I don't know, man. Every time I think that Lamar's every time you think Lamar's been found out, every time you think that they got him, every time he fumbles, it's like, is he the most orthodox quarterback? No. Is he the most orthodox runner? No. Is he the best quarterback or runner that's ever existed? No. He is just a winner. I don't know. Like this guy just finds a way to do it. I just that game on Monday was just insane to me. You're down 19 in the fourth quarter. You come and you just gave up a fumble. You come back, you tie it up. As soon as I don't know if you saw it, but when they won the toss, he was standing on the sideline and he goes, "It's over."
Yep.
He knew it. But then you look at the flip side of this, and you're playing another guy who I was completely wrong about. And I will always say I was wrong about that, and I'll admit that. Justin Herbert's a bona fide baller. He's got Mike Williams as the number 5 wide receiver in terms of yards. Austin Eckler's a beast. Their defense is good. Derwin James is healthy. They're missing Kenneth Murray, which kind of hurts. The speed at linebacker, but they got Joey Bosa. This game is going to be electric. I'm gonna pick the Chargers simply because they're just playing a more complete brand of football right now than the Ravens are. The Ravens are still making mistakes, and I don't know that you can make mistakes and then capitalize on them when you play the Chargers right now. So I'm going to pick the Chargers.
So me and Marc both have the Chargers. This is his upset of the week because the Ravens are a 4-point favorite. When he wrote this, I think they're 3 today. I also picked the Chargers, and I'll go into detail why. It's not because I was a big Herbert fan last year because mainly nobody in the group thought he was going to be good. I was like, I'm going to pick him because he was good in college, and I like Pac-12 football. But I will say this. The Chargers are playing a level of football that I didn't think they'd be at this year, and I think the level they're playing at is what a lot of people expected Burrow to be at last year. And that doesn't mean Burrow's not playing good, but he's at that next level that we can't wait to see Burrow hit that level too, and he has the capabilities of doing it. But here's my thing about the Chargers, though. They remind me of the Chiefs' offense and a Dallas offense, or their offense isn't going to be stopped, is what I'm saying. And I don't think the Ravens' defense is going to be able to stop them. But here's the problem, too, is you can't count out Lamar. I mean, they were down, 19 points at the fourth quarter, and they allowed 14 of them in the first quarter really quickly. The Ravens came out flat against the Colts. You're not going to come out flat against the Chargers and win this game. The Ravens have home field advantage, which is big here, but I think the Chargers come in and win this game. And I think they move to 5-1, and people are really going to be like, are the Chiefs done? I think this is...
And to be honest with you, watching this to me, based on the way that the AFC is playing out, this is a game you're going to see again in the playoffs.
Yep, 100%.
And I hate the Ravens. I want everyone to know I hate the Ravens. But this team is fun. Yeah. And I really, really, really wish J.K. Dobbins was healthy because I can only imagine what this team would be like.
100%. I love J.K. Dobbins.
Him in fantasy and now he's on my IR, but
As much as I do hate the Ravens as well, they're fun to watch. They're exciting. They have a good team. I just think I'd say they're about 80% there to their full capacity. They're a little bit missing, and I won't blame it on the running backs being hurt. Lamar can do most of that he needs to do. I don't think the defense is putting together drives. They're coming off every field when the game starts. They're coming out flat for the first quarter, and they need to punch the other team in the mouth immediately. The sooner
they're missing Marcus Peters.
Yeah, and that's huge too. But if they can get out on the field, whether they have the ball first or second, they need to be the first one to score, and they need to punch the other team 3 and out immediately and get that confidence in these games. And you got to do that against the Chargers. So next, we probably have the second best game of the week for most people, the Cardinals and the Browns. I'll let you go first.
So I did a lot of research on this game because this was a hard one for me to pick as well. The Cardinals are 5-0 in the last 5 games against the Browns, but obviously those games were against very bad Browns teams. This Browns defense is 100% legit.
Yes.
They are absolutely terrifying. Myles Garrett's the scariest person on the planet. And their running game is absolutely absurd. Nick Chubb's number 2 in the league in rushing yards, and Kareem Hunt's averaging the most yards per rush in the league.
Yep.
The Browns have made some stupid decisions, in my opinion, on the goal line. And then on the other side, you got Kyler Murray, who's 100% an MVP candidate. He's absolutely electric. They're starting to figure out the running game a little bit more. James Conner's coming on. You still have D-Hop, AJ Green, Rondale Moore's a stud. There's Christian Kirk. Don't forget about him.
Nope.
they are going to be missing Chandler Jones
and
they
Max
are
Williams.
A little bit, yeah, they're a little bit weak in the secondary. This game to me feels like that game that everyone's going to pick the Cardinals because they're 5-0 and the Browns are 3-2. But I'm going to pick the Browns. I just think that the Browns have enough defensively to win and can keep the ball away from Kyler with the running game. Plus, it's in Cleveland. I'm going to pick the Browns.
So me and Marc both have the Cardinals. My reasoning for the Cardinals was I think right now they're playing a higher level of football. I think it doesn't mean the Browns can't win. Like this isn't the Rams Giants where nobody's going to pick the Giants. Like I can see many scenarios the Browns can win this game. The problem with the Browns though is they still have a really hard time with moving the ball through the air, and being one-dimensional is tough. It does help when you have the two best running backs in the league pretty much on one team running the ball, right? Their defense is good, but defenses are great, but it's hard to stop 4 wide receivers, if not 5 on their team. You know what I mean? Like they have so much wide receiver depth, and then Kyler Murray has his legs. I want to see what this defense does against an offense like the Cardinals. I'm picking the Cardinals because I trust them a little bit more, but I could really see the Browns pulling this game out of their ass. I really could.
This is going to be a phenomenal game to watch.
Yeah, those two games, the Ravens, Chargers, and Cardinals, Browns, should be everybody's 4 o'clock games they're watching. So next we have the Raiders and the Broncos. This, I'll let you go. I just want to say that this is a very interesting game, and I want to hear your take on this.
Yeah, I mean, you have two teams that started 3-0, kind of surprisingly, and then dropped 2 straight and have looked bad in those 2 games.
Just like the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Bridgewater got injured, but and the Raiders have so much going on. To me, with everything that's going on with the Raiders organization right now, this game is kind of make or break on the season.
Yeah.
They can either come together as a team and say our old coach is a dickhead, and we need to come together as a team and show everybody that he was not the identity of this team, that we are. Or they can crumble.
Yeah.
And, I don't agree with what Derek Carr said about John Gruden. And I think that could be a polarizing comment.
Yep.
I'm picking the Broncos, and I'm picking the Broncos because I just see the Raiders doing Raiders things and crumbling, and Derek Carr will probably have 2 interceptions this game. And I just, you kind of feel for the players on the team. I can't remember who said it, but they said it best. I think it was Kyle Shanahan. It's you feel bad for the people that John Gruden talked about, and you feel bad for all of the victims in this. But you also have to feel bad for the team, the players who just signed with this team.
Yep.
What does the future look like now? What does the guy that they just signed to their practice squad, what does he got to be thinking as their family moves for what could be the 10th time this year? I just don't see. I'm picking the Broncos.
Yep. So me and Marc are different here. He has the Raiders. I don't know when he picked the Raiders, if it was before this or after this. I have no idea. I picked the Broncos for mainly most of the reasons you said. When you have things like this going on, which is completely disgusting, when you have things like this that are happening, there's only 2 things that can outcome from it. You can play for your new coach, your assistant who's taking over, and for the team and get rid of the dirty name, or you can completely crumble. But the problem is you're traveling to the Broncos, you're traveling to Denver, and the Broncos aren't really a bad team, but they have a good defense. They have a decent enough quarterback if Bridgewater plays. Their wide receivers are decent. And the Raiders, I just don't think are going to come out. I think this is a game they lose, and I think it's going to affect their season with all this that's going down. They could find a way to be, that heartbreak kid and say, that don't bother us, it's on the afterburners. But if they can win this weekend, it's a good way to get people to kind of move on to a different story, which purists like us won't. This is a story we're going to keep following. But I have the Broncos winning this game. Marc has the Raiders winning this game. And we'll move into our next game since the Raiders are not a fun topic right now. We'll move into the next game. We have the Cowboys and the Patriots. What you got?
I'm just going to pick the better team. I'm picking the Cowboys. Right now, the Cowboys are probably, in my opinion, like the sixth best team in football. They're just playing good football, man. I hate to say it because I absolutely loathe their existence, but Trayvon Diggs is he could win, like, if I don't know if this is an award, but it should be most improved player. I mean, Terry McLaurin put him in a spin cycle twice last year. I mean, just he got dogged. He was playing, and I think what Dan Quinn's done is he's looked at the talent that you guys have on defense, because you have talent.
Yeah.
Looked at the talent, and he said, these are the kind of guys that I need. They went out and found them. And then, I mean, he took Micah Parsons, who was a stand-up linebacker in college, and has turned him into a pass-rushing menace.
Yep.
Like an absolute star. I mean, he's the defensive rookie of the year right now. He has to be.
Yeah, 100%.
And Dak's the comeback player of the year. I mean, this Tony Pollard is the number one ranked running back by all metrics, based on yards per carry, touchdowns per attempt, missed tackles per attempt, and then you have Zeke, who's playing like he's 20 years old again. The Cowboys are good, man, and they win this game, I think, probably by 2 or 3 scores.
Yeah, we both have the Cowboys as well, which I don't know if it was hard for Marc to pick the Cowboys over the Patriots. I picked the Cowboys mainly for all the reasons you said. I don't have to go into it. They're playing the game of football I wanted them to play last year, which obviously we didn't. Like I said, we're currently playing at the 6th best defense in the league at the moment, 2nd best offense in the league, both top 10. That, I mean, when you do that, that's a recipe for a great season and possibly a deep playoff run team. Like I have it here, you're 6th in total defensive efficiency, 7th in pass, 8th in rush. You're leading in interceptions. Your offense is 2nd for passing yards per game. Total yards per game. You're 10th in the pass, 2nd in rush, 2nd in points per game, 2nd in first down, 2nd and 3rd, 5th and 4th. Like, so you're playing so much better, and it's crazy to see the jump from last year to this year, getting rid of Mike Nolan and bringing in Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has completely changed the defense to a scheme no one can name, and he found a bunch of fast dudes who said, do you want to play football? And it's something I said in the first podcast of the season. I said, if we can get a defensive coordinator in that can just get these guys to play fundamental high school football. I know that sounds dumb. Just get back to the basics and play. And we're literally doing everything I thought we would do this year, but I didn't want to sound like a homer. And I'm glad we are. Having an easy schedule does help. I just don't think the Patriots are good right now. But I just think the Cowboys are the better team right now on paper, so I'm picking them. And we'll move into the Seahawks and Steelers. I'll let you go first.
Wow. This one was an odd one to have to pick.
Yeah.
I don't trust either of these teams. Seattle's defense is, like, historically bad. I think I said it last week. Bobby Wagner is like the shiny tire on a POS, 1989 Buick.
Yep.
And they just Steelers. I'm picking the Steelers.
So Marc has
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know when Marc picked this, but probably for his disdain for the Steelers, he picked the Seahawks. I also, in my upset of the week,
Marc picked the Steelers.
He did?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay, so I wrote it wrong then. I'll say, so he's only picked 2 home teams so far. Interesting. I picked the Seahawks as my upset of the week. And the reason is because for some reason, if this was any other team than the Steelers right now, I would have probably changed my mind. I just don't think the Steelers are playing good football. I know they had a decent game last week. They're not running the ball well, which they should be good at. They're not passing the ball well, which you'd think they'd be good at. Their defense is really good. This is going to be a battle between the skill players on the offense for Seattle and then the defense for Steelers. Yes, they're traveling, but I know it sounds crazy. I'm picking this as my upset of the week because I want to see Geno Smith ball out and prove people wrong. Like I said, he's been there as the backup for 5 years, and he's had 5 straight contract negotiations to come back as the backup behind Russell. That's a lot of experience you've gained there, and almost 32 years old, and has done a lot of growing up, I'm sure, in that time. And didn't look too bad last week. That interception really wasn't, I wouldn't really say is his fault, but it happened. And I want to see him do well. And I hope the Seahawks win this game because I really don't like the Steelers.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
if Geno Smith balls out during Russell Wilson's absence, because Russell Wilson's going to be out for some time.
Yep.
Geno Smith balls out and, say, leads the Seahawks to, let's just say, a 500 record.
Yep.
Because their defense is putrid.
Yes.
Do you think Geno Smith could earn himself a starting job somewhere, even though he's 32?
See, I want to see that happen, but I think a lot of it has to do with I don't know if the correct term is like this black flag to him because of the all-field stuff like almost a decade ago. I don't think the word is blackballed in a way, but I do think there could.
He's not Colin Kaepernick. Let's be real.
You what?
I said he's not like Colin Kaepernick.
No. And I do think there could be a team out there that may, if he doesn't stay with Seattle and he does, win a few games in his absence, there's a real good chance there's a team out there that may try to put a move on him who thinks they're close and just wants a veteran. I mean, even though he hasn't played a lot, he's like almost like a Fitzpatrick in a way. Like, he's a journeyman. This is his fifth team he's played on. Fourth, sorry. And being behind Russell Wilson's huge. I could see that happening, but I need to see a few more weeks of it. But if he just
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And I want to clarify, because we're on the podcast, I mentioned Kaepernick not as, like, he should be blackballed. I'm saying that he was blackballed and should, so.
And shouldn't what? Sorry, you broke up there.
I said I just want to make sure that people understand I'm saying that Colin Kaepernick should not have been blackballed, but was.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that I clarified.
Yeah. So next we have the Bills and the Titans, our Monday Night Football game, last game of the week. What you got?
I'm going to pick the better team, the hottest team in football. I think the best team in football. I'm going to pick the Bills. Their defense is ferocious. They are just at will getting after the passer, and they are making quarterbacks make bad decisions. Tre'Davious White is a bad man. Gregory Rousseau is a bad man. They are finding ways to make it hard. Patrick Mahomes looked absolutely confused half of the game on last week.
Yep.
And Josh Allen is, my word, is he just an absolute stud. Zach Moss is starting to come on. They're finding a way to get both of their running backs involved in the passing game. Emmanuel Sanders is playing like he's 20 years old again.
He's replaced Cole Beasley pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, for real, he really has. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders against Washington basically made Kendall Fuller look like he'd never played football before.
Yep.
And then, not to mention they have Stephon Diggs.
Yep, that helps.
And their tight end, Dawson Knox, what a stud, man.
Yep.
Bills are just, they're just fun. I wish my team could play football like that. So, the Bills.
Me and Marc both got the Bills as well for every reason you said. The Bills are the better team right now. The Titans are good, but still the Titans still have a lot of pieces to figure out. Julio and AJ playing together. Who's number one? Who's number two? Who's going to take the reins?
Are they both going to be healthy?
And that's the thing. Are they both going to be healthy? Derrick Henry obviously is Derrick Henry. There needs to be no conversation about Derrick Henry. But that defense is suspect and been looking for it since week one. The benefit for the Titans is they're still in a division that isn't playing the best football right now at the moment. So they're
in a horrible division.
Yeah, it's the NFC East of last year.
Besides them, their division has 2 wins between 3 teams.
Yep, it's absolutely atrocious. So we both picked the Bills. The other thing I will say is very interesting from Marc's list, because I wrote one of the teams wrong, is that Marc only has 2 home teams winning this week. So to me, that's very, very interesting that he only picked 2. I'm not going to give him hell. He's not here. So next, we had talked about, did you want to go ahead and talk about your fellow Washington football team?
I might as well.
Get it over with.
So I'm going to read this. Logan actually sent this in the group chat. For as bad as the Washington football defense has been as a whole, the defensive line is actually playing good football. They're second in pass rush grade. They're second in pass rush win percentage. 4th in pressure percentage. 5th in hurries. Washington's defense has an 84.6 pass rush grade.
That's really good.
They have a 39.1 coverage grade.
Oof.
So we have the second best pass rush grade, but the second worst coverage grade. Landon Collins is an absolute liability. This team is, and Ron Rivera said it perfectly in his press conference, and he got a lot of flack for it from the Washington fan. He was like, he got asked, we won the division last year. What were your expectations coming into this year? And he literally was like, we were 7-9. We won a bad division. Yes, we went toe-to-toe with Tampa Bay because the team was hyped.
Yeah.
But we went 7-9. We have a guy playing quarterback who was a backup quarterback in the XFL last year. What really do you expect?
Yeah.
Yes, we went out and we signed Curtis Samuel. We signed William Jackson. William Jackson's playing like dog crap because Jack Del Rio wants to keep playing zone. Jackson's a press man coverage guy. I mean, they're just, in my opinion, this team is just, I don't think it's Rivera. I think Rivera, the only problem I have with Rivera is he has too much trust in Jack Del Rio.
Yeah.
We need to run the ball more. We need to help Heineke out. Heineke is the 7th-ranked quarterback on play action this year. He's got 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 78% completion percentage on play action. He's 5'10". You got to get him out from behind the 6'5" Giants that are blocking for him.
Yep.
Our offensive, we're winning in the trenches. Our offensive line is top 5 in the league right now on both pass and rush grade. Our defensive line, as I just mentioned, is playing very well. But for some reason, we can't seem to win a goddamn football game. And then you want to add on to it. I don't know if you saw this today. Well, you did because you're in the group chat. Not only are we under more turmoil for sexual harassment BS that continues to flutter around, and I don't mean BS as in it's BS, it didn't happen. I mean, it should have never happened, and the fact that it was allowed to happen is BS.
Yeah.
They decide on Thursday that they want to announce they're going to retire Sean Taylor's jersey on Sunday. Sean Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't retire any jersey. You shouldn't announce any jersey retirement 3 days before a game. I don't care who the player is. Let alone one of, if not the most beloved player in Redskins Washington football team history.
I agree.
Would have gone down as top 3, if not number 1 all-time safety. Died way too young, protecting his family. And I saw a tweet from Ryan Clark saying that the team notified him in mid-September this was going to happen. You know what? If they'd have notified the fans in mid-September, that's too soon. You know what FedEx Field's Twitter announced today?
What?
That Coldplay is going to play a concert at FedEx Field next June.
Jesus.
How out of touch with reality, how out of touch with the fan base, how out of touch with these people that live, breathe, and die burgundy and gold do you have to be to do something like this? And I've seen people say, "Oh, it was done with malicious intent. They're trying to cover up all the bad that happened." I don't think they're smart enough to do that. I really don't. I don't think there's a person smart enough in the building to do that. I think Jason Wright is the right president.
I agree.
I think he's been put into a horrible situation and is trying his damnedest to make it right.
And every day it keeps getting fucking worse for him.
He had to stand up there in front of the fucking press and try in everything that he had to keep his composure and not look like a moron. And then, not only that, they only announced only 10,021 towels are going to be passed out. And they're doing it before the freaking game.
And your stadium holds, 80,000 people?
Yeah. And the game's not going to sell out. You know why? Because you announced it 3 days before the game.
Yeah.
I've never in my, I've been through 2 and 15 seasons. I've been through 3 and 13 seasons. I was at the highest of highs when RG3 led us to 7 straight wins and then basically died on the field. I've been through everything with this team, been a fan my whole life. I've seen it all. Sean Taylor was my favorite player growing up. I had a Sean Taylor 36 jersey when I was a kid. cried when he died. I still tear up every time I watch his highlight. And then this is what they do to reward the fans. This is what they do. You realize if they announced this in June, this game would have been packed, would have been absolutely 100% sold out.
Yep.
How about the season ticket holders that have been season ticket holders for 10, 20, 30 years that have sold their tickets to this game?
Yep. They want to be there.
How out of touch with the fan base do you have to be?
Yeah.
And not to mention, we're in the middle of a freaking rebrand.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? Pick a name that no one likes now because they're not listening to the fan base clearly?
That's the worst part is I'm afraid they will.
Like, if you look at every single poll I've seen on Twitter, on any social media, on the news networks, everything, you have current players, former players, even the head coach has come out and said Red Wolves would be badass. And watch, we're going to be the goddamn president.
Probably.
Might as well change the colors. Change the team. Dan Snyder, you flippin' idiot. You absolute moron. I've never seen a freaking premier franchise absolutely tank the way this one has. Under one person's ownership. You come in, you pay for people that shouldn't be paid for. Albert Hainsworth, Deion Sanders. And then you, on top of that, bring in coaches who don't give a damn. They're just there to collect a paycheck, Mike Shanahan. And then you allow people like Larry Michaels, Bruce Allen, Jay Gruden to come in and sexually harass females because you're a piece of shit. And then you allow those pictures that are taken without women's consent to be sent around the league.
It's nuts, dude.
How is John Gruden the only one that has felt repercussions from this?
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
I could not fathom. If you'd have told me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, that this was going to be the reality, I would have laughed in your face. I would have said, yeah, we suck, and we've sucked most of my life. That's not true. It can't be true. Larry Michaels, the guy that I grew up idolizing, his voice on the radio, his voice on TV, watching him broadcast the team, is a royal POS. Like, I cannot wrap my head around the stupidity that is the Washington football team franchise. Yet, I might be the stupidest one because I'm still a fan.
I understand, man.
I'm going to take a deep breath and try not to curse anymore, but good God, man.
You're allowed to. That's why it's unfortunate Marc couldn't be here, because I wanted you to talk about this, because even though I know you're a DC fan, this is a big story that's literally hitting all of the sports world right now. And unfortunately, it happened under DC's walls, and a lot of the players have nothing to do with it. A lot of the coaches are good coaches. A lot of the organization is a great organization. Jason Wright, I think is his name, is a great human being, but he's cleaning up so much bullshit. And it keeps coming out, making the team look worse and worse, when the best decision would be Snyder to sell his 51+% and just let it go. Because
he owns 100% of the team now.
Oh, he's 100. Oh, yeah, he bought out the minority owners. Forgot about that. He's just, as long as he's there, that stain's going to be there, in my opinion, where, yes, Jason Wright's running things right, but you still have the POS owner who probably was at the top orchestrating the whole thing. It happened in his buildings, in his facilities.
And how can you not hold that person responsible?
100%.
And then how can you do an investigation and not release a report from that investigation?
Well, it's the same thing that happened with the LA Clippers with their owner. They managed to get him out. I don't know why Snyder's still there. Is there a way they can bargain and vote out owners in a way? Like you can tell me you can still own a multi-billion-dollar team with all of this attached to your name, all the coaches, all the players now, all the women that have come forward, all the coaching tree that's getting deeper and deeper to the point that it could even be to an Adam Schefter at this point. Like, how far does this go to the point that you still get to keep your job as the owner of this team before the other owners start going, this can't happen?
How can you push out the Panthers owner for what he did?
Yes.
And not push out Dan Snyder for this, which is 10 times more egregious. Not that what the Panthers owner did wasn't bad. It was horrible. It was horrific, and he should have been canned.
Yeah,
Like, I cannot even, like, I'm just beyond frustrated. And then the product that they're putting on the field,
doesn't
and
help.
everybody wants to get mad at Heineke. This
He-
is the dude's 7th start.
Heineke's balling, though. Heineke's
Good
low-key
bad
good.
decisions? Yes. Is he throwing the ball behind wide receivers? Yes. I think Marshawn Lattimore being voted as the NFC Defensive Player of the Week is an absolute joke. Because if you actually watch the game, Terry McLaurin was open 80% of the time. The ball was just misplaced.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I'm just at a point now where it's like, do I think we can beat the Chiefs? I realistically do think there's a way we can beat the Chiefs because we're dumb enough to win a game like this. Like, this team's dumb enough to do it. And the Chiefs are playing a bad enough brand of football to lose this kind of game.
Yeah.
But I also see a game where we get 50 hung on us. We may score 30. Oh yeah, we're still scoring 30 points a game. Our offense is clicking. I just, man, I need an Advil.
I completely understand. See, for me, my team's never gone through anything like this in my lifetime, but I can imagine it's got to be absolutely dreadful to know you're enjoying watching your team, but the product they're putting out is garbage at the moment, and at the same time, everything behind the scenes, when you're watching the field, you know the locker room is right there. You know the stairs that were see-through are right there. Like, you know all these things are still happening and happen in that facility, and nothing to the direction that you want it to be done is happening the way most males like me and you who see this stuff as disgusting, we're seeing that it's not being addressed the way we would want it to. Like, who knows if it's still happening? That's the problem, is no fan feels comfortable that it's over. Does that make sense? Like 6 months ago, you were like, I'm glad Jason Wright came in and cleaned things up. We don't know if it's over. We have no idea.
I'm so tired of people saying, oh, well, if you put out a winning product, the stands are going to be filled. Why? Why would the stands be filled? Because shit water got dumped on them 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why would the stands be filled when you are conducting yourself in a way that shows you don't give a single shit about the fan?
No.
You don't give a single shit about anybody other than yourself and making billions and sitting on your yacht.
Yep.
Man, I want to see a winning season, but I would rather not be the laughingstock of the NFL.
100%.
We're gonna see potentially. We have the chance. There's 2 0-5 teams in the league. We have a chance to watch another team in 8 years go 0-16, and we're gonna be the laughingstock.
Yep.
It's just my wife's an Eagles fan, and I told her, I was like, after all of this stuff started coming out, I was like, I might just let our kids be Eagles fans.
Yeah. That's sad.
Because, at least their owner admits he's stupid.
Yeah, true, right?
Oh my God, man. It's nauseating trying to be a fan of this team, trying to understand how we've even gotten to this point. Like, it really is true, man. Money is the root of all evil. Like, people get money, people get power, and they just think that they can do whatever they want.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen it with politicians, we've seen it with sports owners, we've seen it with athletes, we've seen it with anybody.
Yep.
They just think they rule the world, they can do whatever they want. And then this league continues to allow that stuff to happen.
That's the problem.
You can smoke marijuana, but you can punch your pregnant girlfriend in the face and still get a job.
Yeah, I don't. It makes no sense. It's completely ass backwards of what it should be.
It's a damn joke. And then, Carl Nassib has to, hide the fact that he's gay for years because he knows he's going to get verbally abused by coaches like John Gruden.
Yeah, now this doesn't make it any easier for players. Like, how many other players in the league right now are bisexual or could potentially have a different gender than what they assume, or could potentially be gay or queer or anything like that? And now they're not sure if their coach is someone they can trust because they all thought they could trust Gruden.
650,000 emails. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Ugh.
How do you send them any emails, first off? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I just think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And the sooner everything comes out, the sooner they mandate that. I mean, no offense. I know you won't take it, but that Snyder has to sell his team to a new owner that deserves it. That is willing to make the Red Wolves a thing and fill the stands and honor Sean Taylor the way he deserves and spray paint a goddamn 21 in the corner of the field, something, and make it right. I know it doesn't fix the scars that are there, but if you can make the fans feel comfortable for the first time in years, you can get an ownership like you have Jason Wright. You just got to do a few more steps. Like, it's the right direction, but every time another thing comes out, it knocks them down one more step. And people like you know this with Jason Wright and Ron Rivera, and I know that as a fan. Like, I'm not a fan of DC, but I see they're making the right steps. But to the average fan, they're not seeing it, and it only makes this worse and worse and worse. And I feel really bad for the fans and for the players that have to put up with this shit.
Like Terry McLaurin, John Allen, Chase Young, these guys that are just staples in the community, absolute, genuinely fantastic people. I don't, like, how can you expect to keep people like that around?
Yeah. I mean, Terry McLaurin, whenever his deal runs up, or Chase Young in 2 more years, like 5th-year option he could get, but, like, does he even want to accept it? If there's more information that comes out about Snyder, do you want to stay? Do you want to be a part of this if he's going to be able to be there? Because you don't know if he's still up to his ways. You got to remember, once a predator, always a predator. So for someone like him to be orchestrating or even knowing about these things, just because he was yelled at once, doesn't mean he won't act quiet for a year and start doing it again.
Yeah.
That's the problem that affects me the most. Is you ever yelled at a kid saying don't do that, and then a week later they're doing it again? It's because you didn't take anything away from them. You need to take away a cell phone or a team. You need to make sure these people are absolutely punished and not just let go from a job or just saying, hey, don't do that again. No more see-through staircases and topless cheerleaders. Like, no, give him the death penalty. Because it's the only way other owners that are like, whoa, we need to straighten up, or other politicians or other people in the world need to straighten up unless you give them the death penalty. Not physically, I meant in their league.
Right.
Get them out of there. So we'll move on. That way you don't have to pop a blood vessel if you're okay with that. Unless you had anything else you wanted to say.
No, I thought the vein in my forehead was going to burst.
So the other thing we had was we don't have to do the start sits if you don't want to. If you wanted to do your MVP talk, we talked about that. Or you can do the other thing Marc talked about. It's up to you. What do you want to do? We got about a few minutes unless you got to go.
No, we'll do like 3 or 4 more minutes. Let's talk about the MVP race.
Okay.
If you want to read out Marcs first, we'll go from there.
Okay. Shoot. I got to pull it up real quick. I don't have it listed on my phone. I have it right here. So Marc's MVP race that he has. Oh, wrong group. Sorry, that was definitely the wrong group. So Marc's MVP candidates that he has in his order is Kyler Murray 1, Tom Brady 2, Josh Allen 3, Lamar Jackson at 4, and Rodgers and Dak are tied at 5.
Yeah, I mean, I completely disagree with Rodgers and Dak. Rodgers is having a good year. I just don't think I think he's going to be an MVP candidate at some point this year. I just don't think it's right now. And then Dak's the comeback player of the year. Dak's playing good football, but Dak's not the most valuable player on that team right now.
Of course.
And he's not the reason those teams are winning games. Whereas I think Murray, Brady, Allen, Jackson, Herbert, Derrick Henry, those players are the reason why their teams are winning games.
Yep.
I would rank mine as, right now, Tom Brady is number 1. Leading the league in passing at 44 years old, 15 touchdowns through 5 games, is 100% the reason why that team is winning football games, because their defense is so bad. He's bringing back the renaissance of Antonio Brown. Mike Evans looks like an absolute stud. Chris Godwin's getting the ball. Fournette, Ronald Jones, Gronk, whoever. Like, it doesn't matter. Tom Brady's finding a way to get it done. His offensive line is very good, and I get that, and the team is very good around him. But without Brady, I don't think, like, if you put Jared Goff on that team, they're not 4-1.
Yeah.
You know. I think Tom Brady's number 1. Number 2, I have Lamar Jackson. Dude is 5th in passing yards and 8th in rushing yards, and has his team at 4-1. And it just impressed me so much on Monday. I cannot get over that win. I had them dead to rights. I fell asleep.
Yep.
Number 3, I've got Kyler Murray. Absolute stud, 5-0, balling out. Number 4 is Josh Allen. again, 4-1 team, best team in football, playing lights out. They had a bad week 1, but he's rebounded completely. He's bringing more pieces into that offense than he did last year. Last year was the Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen show. Now you can see him starting to get more and more comfortable. He's got Emmanuel Sanders he's throwing the ball to, Dawson Knox, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, and Diggs is still there. Number 5, I've got a tie, just like Marc does, between Justin Herbert and Derrick Henry.
Yep.
I know that the MVP has been largely the quarterback show, but to not even put Derrick Henry in the race is absolutely absurd. He's got 128 more rushing yards than the number 2 leading rusher in the league.
Yep.
Derrick Henry, after contact, is the number 3 leading rusher in the league. Derrick Henry has put the team on his back and said, guess what, guys? It's on me. I'll win us the division. I'll get us to the playoffs. And I think that the Titans are a team that if they get to the playoffs, they're going to be hard to play against.
Yep.
Because of the style of football that they play. Especially if the defense starts to kick up a little bit and they figure out a way to make A.J. Brown and Julio Jones more involved. So that's my list. I got Brady, Jackson, Murray, Allen, and then Herbert and Henry.
So mine's actually not far from yours. Mine's actually very different from Marc's. I have Brady as my number 1. I think he's playing at the highest level of football right now for his age and the direction he's doing this. And for me, MVP, I take a lot of MVP based off. I took you off your team and put, like, say, Jared Goff. You actually have used him for years as an example, or Sam Darnold. What does your team do? Can it do the same record with or without you? So I have Brady as my number 1. I have Lamar Jackson as my number 2. My number 3 is Josh Allen. I have Herbert as my 4 and Murray as my 5th. And the only reason I have that right now is because Murray is surrounded by a lot of incredible talent. And that's not saying he's not talented. It's just so hard right now because the ones I named, when you say Herbert, Jackson, Murray, Allen, and even Tom Brady, those 5 quarterbacks are playing at such a different level than everyone behind them. That you could honestly put Jackson or Herbert or any of them at 1, and I wouldn't argue you. The fact of the matter, though, is I wouldn't have Dak and Rodgers in my 5. That's what I'm arguing with Marc, is the fact that he doesn't have Jackson in there. I know he doesn't like the Ravens. That he didn't even have Tom Brady in his. Oh, no, he did. He had Brady. It's just, I think there's something to be said about Brady at the age he's doing this at, and I think it's absolutely incredible to watch. And if you are too young and you're listening to this podcast, sorry that you missed out on all the years of Brady because it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, start watching YouTube highlights now.
Yeah, start watching it now and get ready for Tom Brady Jr. or whatever his kid's name is. I forgot.
I mean, he started playing football before YouTube was like really a thing, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was drafted in what, 01?
He's been in the league for 22 years.
So he was drafted in 2000. And YouTube came out in 2004, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts. So, do you have any?
Just transcends time.
Yeah, right. So, do you have anything else before I let you go?
No, I appreciate you and Marc allowing me to be the co-host for today, and I can't wait till I get on again. Just thank you guys so much.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
So that was Nate. We brought him back this week for in Marc's place. Marc wasn't able to be here, so I think Nate filled in the shoes really well. Nate, for the last few weeks in the episode, has really just wanted to talk about Washington and where they thought they were going to be this year versus where they are at the moment. And then it actually, I don't want to say happened perfectly. It's actually kind of sad, but with the John Gruden stuff and everything else that came out, I think it really helps for him to come out and talk even more about how deeper this story goes. So with that, everybody enjoy the week and have a great weekend.